here with Train Like You Fight, and this week we have a really cool video review for you guys. So I finally got my Form 1 back for my CZ Scorpions, and now I am allowed to turn this thing into an SBR. I've already got a vertical foregrip on there, but when it comes to stocks, there are a lot of options out there on the market. And so instead of just going out and purchasing the first stock I thought looked the coolest, I decided to go out and get in touch with a bunch of manufacturers out there that make aftermarket stocks for the CZ Scorpion. And so that's what this video is going to be about today. We are going to just compare all the different stocks out there on the market, or at least the coolest ones, in my opinion. And so I want to thank all these manufacturers for sending me out these stocks. The first stock we'll be looking at, we have the Manticore Arms slider stock. This thing is pretty cool. Now, Manticore Arms is allowing me to keep this stock, but that is not going to influence this review. I have gotten it Cerakoted since I'm going to be keeping it, but this is one very good option. Next, we have the HB Industries adapter for the Zukov stock. And so they sent me this out. Really cool stock option, especially if you like AKs. Next, we have the Lage Manufacturing side folder stock. This is just another really cool option. Definitely want to thank them for sending me this one out. And then finally, we have an SB tactical brace. Now, I know this review is not about SB tactical braces or tactical braces in general, but for those of you out there who don't want to SBR your Scorpion, or maybe are waiting to get your Form 1 back, we'll be getting into this a little bit for you guys. So guys, this is going to be a longer video review, but just sit back and relax and we'll get into it. Alright everyone, I have all the stocks laid out here on the table, and I don't like doing a lot of tabletop reviews just because they're kind of boring, but I feel like this is the best way to compare all these stocks. So first we're going to start with the lightest stock, and then we're going to move into the heaviest stock we have here. So the lightest stock is actually the Lage Manufacturing stock. This thing weighs in at just 12 ounces, so very lightweight option, mostly because it is a plastic construction except for the locking mechanism and the adapter plate itself. My favorite part about this stock is actually the locking mechanism. It is by far the strongest, in my opinion, because it utilizes this huge chunk of metal in order to lock itself up. So when you fold it out, there is actually a little bit of a snap to it when you lock it out or fold it up. And then when you lock it out, you can just see that it snaps into this huge detent right there. And so there's really no play or anything like that on this stock. You do have an adjustable comb height with this stock, so another big advantage right there. None of these stocks that we have here today offer an adjustable comb height. And you can do that via these two screws inside here. So you undo those screws, and then you can move this thing up and down on the adapter plate. So there is a Sling Point. It is just this strap style Sling Point here, so no QD points on this. So not a huge deal breaker for me, but I would like to have seen a QD point on this thing. There is also no rubberized butt plate. This uses a plastic butt plate because the whole thing is just molded out of one piece of plastic, but it does have a lot of ridges here, and you have a little bit of a hook here to really just give yourself a good grip on this stock. So what it lacks in not having a rubber butt plate, it makes up for just the overall quality of the build. Very sturdy stock. I mean, you're really not going to bend this thing or do anything like that to it. The lockup against the receiver is really good. And then on Lage Manufacturing's website, you can actually get this thing in a left side or a right side folding configuration with some other options in there. What's cool about this is just because there aren't any other left side folding stocks out there on the market. So this thing's nice because it clears all of your fire controls when you do fold it up on the Scorpion. Next, we have the SB Tactical Brace. This thing, I mean, it's more of a compromise if you can't get a stock, but it is a good option if you are waiting on a Form 1 or don't intend on filing any type of tax stamps. So this thing is pretty nice. Color doesn't match up exactly to the Scorpion, but it's all right. It's a little sturdier than most tactical braces, and it functions as a pseudo stock pretty well. It does feel fairly nice against the shoulder. The comb height on this thing is really nice for low profile sights, but it isn't adjustable, unfortunately. So that could be a disadvantage to some people out there. Besides that, the push button mechanism on it, it's all right. It is plastic, this whole piece right here. So I feel like if you fell on the stock, I feel like there might be a chance of actually breaking this little piece of plastic off in there. So I don't know. Never seen it done, but not saying it can't happen. I would say this is probably one of the weakest mechanisms out of the ones we are looking at here today. I do like that the push button is huge, though. It's very easy to depress, very easy with gloves, so not a bad option if you don't have a tack stamp. Next, we have the Manticore Arms slider stock. This thing is really cool just because I like MP5s and I like sliding stocks, so this thing really kind of scratches that itch for me. So this thing has a really good build quality, just the overall build quality. I mean, you really can't bend these rails or anything like that, so you're not going to fall on it and accidentally damage the rails. I like that it does have 4 adjustment points on it, so you can have a little bit of length of pull adjustment with it. So some people might view it as a disadvantage that when you immediately pull it out, it doesn't just drop right into the position that you want it to, but I found the quickest remedy to that is just let gravity do the work and it'll pull it out for you. So not a big disadvantage there. This does have a rubberized butt plate on it. This is an additional option on Manticore Arms website. I highly recommend it just because it gives you a really good purchase on the gun when you are shooting. You have QD sling points on the very rear of it for a 2-point configuration, and then you also have one up here for a 1-point configuration. This is the only stock that actually offers a 1-point configuration QD mount, so I really like that. And then you also have a set screw in there to tighten this thing up against the receiver if you do feel any play. But really, when you snap it into the receiver, I haven't found any play in the stock at all. So the only real disadvantages to this guy, there is a little bit of play here in the adapter between the rails and the adapter itself. It is noticeable, but honestly, when you're shooting and you got the thing snug against your shoulder, it's really not that big of a deal. And then this is more of a disadvantage for any sliding stock in general. It kind of hurts if you put your face against this thing. If you're shooting this thing quickly, there is a chance that you can kind of pop yourself in the cheekbone with these hard little metal rails on it. So just make sure you're mindful of that and just keep your face off of the rail, or just don't put your cheekbone on it. So not a big deal, but this is a really good option. I will be keeping this one around. I've already got it Cerakoted, so you can't get it in flat dark earth like I've got it, but very good option out there. And then finally, we have the HB Industries Zukov stock adapter with a Magpul Zukov stock. So if you're an AK guy, you're really gonna like this stock. I like it just because it's just a really beefy stock. It's very comfortable to shoot from. It feels very good against the cheek when you're shooting. You have a lot of length of pull adjustments on here. So this is the only other stock that actually does have an adjustable length of pull on it. And this one actually has like 3 more inches of length of pull adjustment than the sliding stock. So another big advantage right there. This thing does have a rubberized butt plate, so another nice thing right there. We have a sling point here for a strap style sling. There is this hole here, but you can't fit a QD mount into that. So I'm assuming maybe there's like an aftermarket QD mount that you could put in there. Then you can snap a QD point into it. And then we also have this detent here, which is nice. When you fold the thing up, it snaps into place, and so it's not going anywhere on you. It has a really audible click to it when you fold it up, and then when you fold it out, it's a little tougher to fold out than the others, but that's kind of a good thing because there's no play in this mechanism at all. The only disadvantage is if you have gloves on, this thing's kind of hard to get your thumb in there, but I found without gloves, it's pretty easy to use, but with gloves, you really got to dig in a little more than, say, with the SB Tactical Brace. Besides that, the only thing I might have liked to have seen with this is some kind of QD point up here, and then this is, still don't quite know what exactly this is used for. I think that's some kind of aftermarket QD point, but overall, this thing is a really good stock. It is a little on the heavier side, but it does balance out the gun very well, especially if you have an aftermarket rail system on your CZ Scorpion like I do. So guys, that's it for the tabletop portion. Let's get into the shooting. All right, everyone, I'm going to start out with the Lage Manufacturing stock, but I'm going to do just a big shooting montage of me shooting this stock along with all the other stocks in slow motion and doing a little bit of running gun, and then I'm going to end with giving you guys my final thoughts. So let's get into it. everyone. So, after shooting all these stocks all day and really running them through their paces, I've decided that I think the HB Industries Zukov stock is probably the most stable platform, is by far the most comfortable to shoot from. But guys, this really doesn't mean that this is the best stock out there. Honestly, like I said, I'm going to be keeping that Manticore Arms stock around just because it's so compact. Again, this is the heaviest stock we have, and it kind of makes sense why it would be the most stable platform to shoot from. So, because it's the most stable and most controllable, we're going to do a last 30 round mag dump. Man, doesn't get much better than that. Guys, I want to thank you for watching, and remember to train like you fight.